Literally, cookie dough bites is the reason I got fat again. It was from cookie dough. I'm not even kidding, dude. Every day, my senior year, my friends would go to Chipotle, and we would go to Froyo World right next door, and I would get a fucking burrito bowl and cookie dough bites, and that's how my chub came to be.
Okay, Chipotle destroyed me once, and it's never
you don't
it's never
understand.
allowed back in my body.
Let me remind you of this happy picture of you eating a burrito bowl.
That was like some chic Portuguese restaurant
You have
vendor
not
thing.
No. Chipotle is way better.
Plus, I'm a vegetarian now, so it'll just be like beans and rice.
I never get the chicken. I always get the vegetarian.
Okay, maybe that was my mistake. Back then, I got chicken. I was burned by the meat. Didn't they have like E. coli scares like 12 times?
Allegedly. I never got sick. I ate there through the coli scares.
I did, and I ate there once.
Yeah, because you had the burrito. It's really good. You just have to have the right experience. I'm telling you. You need to go again. It's okay.
I would rather go to Taco Bell.
My God, no.
Than
no.
Chipotle, because of how Chipotle wounded me.
Wow, that's saying something.
I know. And Taco Bell has
me.
never done me wrong. We can give up our dreams of ever being sponsored by Chipotle now.
Whoops.
But Taco Bell, looking at you. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello. From the other side.
Yes. So this is number 3.
This is episode number 3.
Guys, we're cruising.
We are. Congratulations if you made it this far.
Yes. And thank you.
Yes.
Keep coming back for more.
Please do.
There's a lot of exciting ones coming down the pipeline.
Yes. We're excited to share them with you all.
But today
we
are talking to
the one, the only, Joshua Hanson.
From the band Yellow Red Sparks.
Yes.
Genius. Like, literally lyrical genius.
Oh, across the board. Just lyrical genius.
Yeah, if you guys haven't listened to their music, you gotta get on it. It's absolutely breathtaking.
It's so good.
Yep.
You cry yourself to sleep.
Yes. But also, it's like feel-good sad music.
Yes.
You know?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Some songs you definitely will cry yourself to sleep, but other songs...
Like, they lift you
you up.
A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're super excited. He was so awesome to talk to. So,
yes.
We hope that you guys enjoy what you hear.
There's a chance we could meet under the likeness of summer. And there's a chance we could fall under the highlight of winter. And there's a parked car that won't let me over. And there's one thing I'll regret, but you'd be the last. I'm just sick of the monsters that we chase every day. I'm just sick of the monsters that we chase every day.
All right, so we usually like to begin by kind of hearing your beginning. So what was kind of the thing that got you interested in music, and kind of when did that take place?
Yeah, it's hard to say when. I think it's just something that's always been there, but it's kind of like in my family we call it the family curse because everyone in my family's in music, and it's kind of a tough road to take. But my mom was like kind of a lounge singer. She toured a little bit. My dad was a songwriter, a musician. He still plays guitar really well. My brother is a touring musician. He's toured with some like pop star type people, and yeah, it's just it's something that I really loved lyrics. Like, I was fascinated by what the artist was trying to say. I was like the weird kid in the corner, like reading into everything, trying to interpret it, trying to understand it. And then I just kind of realized, wow, I want to write my own songs. Like, I want to do this. So I just kind of started noodling on the guitar and just started writing. And then it just never stopped. It just never stopped. So, and I just love music. Like, I've been surrounded by it my whole life and appreciate it my whole life. And just something I really respect and admire. So, yeah, that's the gist.
Seems like you didn't really have a choice. Seems like it was a
Not really, yeah. That's what we call it, the curse. It's like, my brother and I joke about it all the time, because it's like, oh my gosh, it's annoying, but we love it, and, at the end of the day, you just love it.
Yeah.
So
That's so awesome.
if you get taken advantage of, it's like, whatever.
Well, and it's funny, too, because I feel like that, to me, seems like a favorable environment than, like, coming from a family
that,
with...
like, doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Music isn't, like, a viable
They're like,
thing.
it's a hobby, and you're like,
It can be, but it gets kind of intense, because, like, all of us have really strong opinions about music, and my brother, for instance, will like show me something that I might not immediately dig or even get, and he'll just play it over and over till I'm like, okay dude, I love it, thank you. You know what I mean? And we just have really strong opinions on who we love and stuff like that, so we're always showing each other music. But yeah, it's competitive too. It's good though, it's all good, so yeah. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. So who were some of your biggest influences, both, growing up in the past and now currently?
I'd say, like, songwriters go, Bob Dylan was huge for me. I think Fiona Apple was huge for me. Cat Power, I think, is a great songwriter. And then a lot of the older stuff, a lot of Everly Brothers, Elvis Presley, stuff like that. And then I got into Radiohead, and I got into Nirvana. I don't know, like, when it's all blurry to me, so it's like I still listen to all that stuff. So, and then more contemporary stuff, I like I really love Dr. Dog. I think they're great. I really love the new First Aid Kit record. I love Fleet Foxes. I don't know, I love so much music. But yeah, I think as far as being inspired, it was like Bob Dylan, some of like the early 80s music my dad would play around the house, and like early REM and stuff like that, and Husker Du, some other things. He would listen to some weird stuff too. But it all just becomes like a weird mishmash of stuff, and then I don't know, it's not, I really made a conscious choice not to be influenced by one particular artist, so it's hard for me to like pinpoint, because I like, when you consume one, when you get obsessed over one artist and you consume it so much that you're like, I sound like this now. So like that scared the shit out of me, and I made a conscious effort to not ever let that happen again. So it's hard to say, but I think I'm just influenced by everybody, to be honest. Yeah.
Then it's also really good that everybody in your family atmosphere has really different tastes in music, because then you're constantly shoving each other outside of your comfort zones.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some music like I don't get, but that's okay. I don't judge anyone for it.
It's interesting that you said you were kind of obsessed with lyrics, because for us, what hooked us in to your music was the lyrical complexity of it. It felt like there was so much to unpack there and kind of dig into.
Yeah.
So how does that process kind of work for you? Do you read a lot of books? Do you read a lot of poetry? Do you kind of get inspiration from that and then the melodies come, or what's that process?
For me, it's always been, it's really mysterious to me. Like, it's always been kind of an involuntary thing where I'm going through something and I have to get it out and interpret what I'm experiencing. And it usually all sort of comes, this is like such a stupid way to describe it, but it's the best way I've come up with describing it. But it's like, for me, it's like emotional vomiting, and it's where you can't hold it in anymore, and it goes everywhere, and then you start cleaning it up and kind of figuring out what it is. And I need to find a better way to describe that. But like, it is like that for me. Like, it just comes out, and then some songs, I'll work on for years, and other songs will get written really quickly. So it's just different every time. But the main thing is always I just pick up the guitar or I'll noodle on the piano and I just record everything. So I've probably have thousands of recordings. It's so stupid, but it's that's just the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it, but that's the way I do it. So I have tons of just stuff, and then when I really want to sit down and focus, I'll start kind of putting the puzzle pieces together and figuring out what it all means and where it goes, and if it has a place anywhere in the world. So yeah.
Has that process changed at all, especially with the formation of a band?
Yeah, it gets more complicated with a band, because the thing that I've always tried to avoid with bands is, you have to kind of, it's really rare to have two songwriters work well together, or one person can write songs, the other person thinks they can write songs, or one person's really good with lyrics, one person's good with melody. So I just kind of decided to do that part on my own and keep it to myself. And then with bands, sometimes like the guitar player wants his part really loud, and I'm like diehard about the most important part of a song is the lyrics and the melody and the delivery of that. So if a song can be played on acoustic guitar by itself and it's still a good song, then it's a good song. You shouldn't have to add all this other stuff, but it's so fun to add that stuff too at the same time. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's...
No, definitely. My favorite thing in the world is when someone takes a super produced pop song that doesn't resonate with me, and they slow it way down on acoustic guitar, and then it becomes stunning because
it's
you
so
just
good.
See it for what it is.
Yeah, they strip it down.
Yeah,
spare bones.
Yeah. It's like a really beautiful person who's just beautiful. Like their inside's beautiful, their outside's beautiful, and then they put all this stuff on, and they're still beautiful, but. You know what I mean?
But there's something fabricated about the beauty.
I was just listening today to, I really love Sia. I think she's an amazing songwriter, super poppy, but I love her. But I was listening to her version of Chandelier just on the piano, and it literally I was getting chills. I was it was so good. And there's just something about that rawness that really hits me personally. So
yeah.
So talking about Yellow Red Sparks, I know you were doing solo stuff before. Mm-hmm. Sarah and Aaron came on board. How did the band form?
The band formed, basically I was doing, just solo stuff, and then I went on a solo tour, and then I like I said with the band thing, I always had bad experiences, so I was very against forming any sort of band. But what happened with Darren, the drummer, who I call Goldie, we kind of were in different things, and he kept he's very persistent. He's just would incessantly oh dude, or I would just ignore it probably. I don't even know, I was probably a total asshole, but one day I was at a show or something, and he cornered me and was like, dude, can you get in my car real quick? I'm like, sure. He took one of my songs with just me playing it, and he went to a studio and recorded drums over it so I could hear what it was. And it changed my perspective, and just his heart was so pure. I was like, dude, let's do something. And then he was teaching Sarah drums at the time, and she plays stand-up bass. She plays a bunch of stuff, and she just ended up fitting in. And then when we had management, they wanted to add 100 more players, because that's what you've got to do. Yeah, it just happened really naturally. Everything with it happened naturally. That's how it came together. So.
And I also find it super interesting that you have a song that's titled the same name as the band.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that?
Again, I didn't decide it. It just, what happened was, that was one of the first songs I wrote for just me, and that's where the name came from. So the song was written before the name of before Yellow Red Sparks, the name, and then I went back and forth on putting that song on the record, and ultimately I just was like, fuck it, it's titled Yellow Red Sparks, the band's called Yellow Red Sparks, why not have a song called Yellow Red Sparks too?
I'm glad you did, because I've always wondered what came first.
Yeah, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the song came first, and it was basically just my frustrations with some stuff, and it was the yellow represents the mellow kind ofness of things, and then the red is this fiery thing, and then it creates this spark of energy or whatever you want to call it, and that was the idea behind that. And I just thought it was fitting for my personality, because I kind of have those dual things going, like most people. Yeah, that's where that came from.
I'm glad to hear the origin. So I originally discovered your music through your win with the International Songwriting Competition.
Oh, yeah.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, with Monsters with Misdemeanors.
Uh-huh.
I first heard it and was like, oh my gosh, I love this band. So what made you decide to submit that song in particular?
Well, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, it was literally the day it was due, like they have like deadlines or whatever. And she's like, you should submit for this songwriting competition, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's a scam. Like, no one wins those, blah, blah. I'm not doing it. And she had been bugging me about it for like months. And then, I don't know, like something was told me, just do it. Why not? Who cares? Do it. So I entered it, and I only entered that one song. And I looked at the judges, like, oh, Tom Waits is doing this, Tegan and Sarah, one of the judges, like people that I liked. And then I just forgot about it, honestly. I was like, there's no way I'm going to win, but, it'd be cool to maybe get, 10th place or whatever. I don't know. There's like 22,000 entries. It's seriously insane that even happened. But I really forgot about it. And then I feel like it was like a year later. I don't know what the time was, but this woman, Candace, called me and was talking to me, and she asked me for like a photo. They needed a photo of me. I'm like, okay, like that's weird, but yeah, I'll send you a photo. And then like a week later, she called me again, and she did it really cool. She's like, what would you do with $25,000? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, you should think about it. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, because you just won the International Songwriting Competition. And I was so blown away. Like, it was so surreal. I couldn't believe it, so. What
a way to tell you, too, to break the news like that.
Oh, she was, like, totally messing with me. It was so funny. Like, I had no clue. I was just like, what is this? Like, why is this person talking to me about this? But, because I really did forget about it. I mean, I forgot about it, and then when she asked for the picture, I was like, I don't want to get my hopes up, But it happened, so
definitely
it was crazy.
A good surprise,
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And kind of going off of that, I had read in an interview you did a while back that before entering the competition, you were kind of over it in terms of music. I know that
totally over it.
Easy to like kind of feel that way and want to toss in the towel.
Yeah.
So what kind of kept you going in terms of creating?
I think I just came to the realization that I love writing, and it's just something that, I need to do no matter what. And a lot of times, you get this fantasy in your head that it has to be this way and everything has to go this way. And, I just kind of got over myself, I guess. It was just like, dude, just who cares? I mean, that became my mantra. Who cares? And we actually had a joke where we would say hashtag fuck it. And that was just kind of a thing. And like, I don't talk a lot about personal stuff, but I was going through immense like trials. I mean, it was a rough time, and I just didn't want to tour. I didn't want to be away from my family and my friends. I didn't want to deal with the industry. I didn't want to deal with my managers. I just was over it. And when that happened, I was like, okay, well, this is a sign. I don't have a choice anymore. I have to keep going because this is something. So, yeah, I was just over it. Being in the industry, it strips away some of the stuff that you love about music, I think. And when you've got so many people in your ear telling you should do this, and you should wear this, and don't say this on stage, and you've got to be here at 5 a.m. to do this, and it just got old, And to me, I like independence. I like being able to do it at my pace, when I want, how I want, and it's selfish, but that's how music is, really. If you want to be honest about it, it's a selfish thing, and then it's really selfless to give it out because you want people to benefit from just shit you've been through and gotten through. So it's like selfish and selfless. It's a weird thing. It's weird because like when you start going all in and you get on a label and you start touring and you start looking around at your bandmates and you're like, gosh, they have bigger dreams for this than I do. I'm not happy doing this as much as I thought I would be. So it's rough, man. Being on tour and being away is rough.
When it forms as kind of an intangible dream, it's great. Because in your head,
Yeah.
it's exactly what you want it to be. But then when it actually becomes your job and it's work,
Totally.
that's like
Yeah.
where things start to get a little blurry and you start being like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Is
Like,
this
wait,
good?
why did I want to do this?
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's becoming, increasingly harder for musicians to make a living, and you have to do a bunch of different stuff. You'll have to do session work. You'll have to tour with people that you might not even like their music, or you might, you have to make a living at the end of the day. So it becomes that instead of about, and I just didn't like when I first started out, I would literally have my MacBook and record with the microphone in this thing, and it would sound like shit, and I would sell, hundreds of CDs, just burn CDs at shows. And when you get management involved, they're like, you can't do that. That's not a good quality recording. But people didn't care. They just wanted to hear it. So you just start second guessing yourself, and I don't like that. Like, I'd rather, you second guess yourself enough without someone else telling you, don't wear this, you should wear this hat because this is really cool, or like, you need to meet this person because blah, blah, blah. And then you just feel like this, like, animal in a cage. And, I'm not trying to be too negative about it, but it's just the reality of it. If artists are honest about how it actually is, you have to kiss a lot of ass. You have to, like, meet people that are douchebags and pretend like they're not. And I just didn't like that part of it. It was just tough for me.
Well, it's good to talk about it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm healing right now. You guys are, like, healing me right now.
well, because there's such a struggle going on right now with the talk about mental health and stuff within the music
Mhm.
industry, and it's because
Yeah.
people aren't allowed to talk about how grueling touring and stuff is because they're
Yeah.
afraid it makes them look like they're taking it for granted or something.
Yes.
But
Yep.
I mean, you have to be honest about it, otherwise it can't be changed.
Yeah, it's like, another, like, musician is whining about this or that.
Right.
It's not that it's not an amazing experience. It all is. But you are trading something for it. And, like, people don't understand that. I mean, if you have a family, if you want to have kids, if you want to, not miss birthdays and Thanksgiving, you can't really do it. Well, you can't go all in with it, really. So you have to kind of make that decision. And that's why you become so isolated, and so you miss out on so many things that matter. And it's also hard just being in, a different city every day. You literally forget where you are. You don't experience anything. It's like you're going to truck stops to grab a snack. It's just, it's like, even, my brother's toured on buses and, like, private jets, and, like, even that, he's over that part of it, because the older you get, the more you're like, gosh, man, like, I want to just chill. And I want to go to a pool party or something. I don't know how lame that sounds. That's what you crave. You're like, a pool party? I've never even been to one, but I want one now.
It's interesting because I watch a lot of conspiracy theory videos, and
oh gosh, I love that stuff. Rabbit hole stuff.
Oh my god, yes! I saw this one. They were talking about Fifth Harmony, that pop band from X Factor.
Yeah.
And they were in really, really strict contracts where their meal times were being controlled and everything. And so that's why it started breaking up or whatever, but none of them can talk about it because they have
they sign non-disclosure agreements.
So they can never speak on it. And I'm like, wow, it's so interesting, like what we see versus what actually is happening. So
That's
totally.
I would just say it's brutal because it's an industry that's based off of your emotions. You write to evoke feeling from people and to get things out for yourself. And then if you can't even feel anything because you're just
like a robot.
Yeah, then you're...
Yeah. Well, here's, like, an example. Like, this was, like, when I first started out, I was on a tour with a guy, and he was, like, he was big within, like, the post-hardcore kind of scene, like, as a solo. He started, like, doing a solo thing. And we were on tour, and he had just gotten into, we're in, like, a 15-passenger van, and he had just gotten into an argument with his wife. And, he was just in a bad mood, he had a bad day or whatever. And the second we get out of the van at the venue, there's, like, fans waiting there for him, and he just has to put it on. And, that's hard for an artist to do. And that wears on you after a time, where you just, if you're short with someone because you're tired or because you just got in a fight with your wife or your mom or whatever, your girlfriend, boyfriend, and you have to just suck it up, it's tough. And also playing the same songs over and over again does wear on you, I mean, it kind of loses the meaning. It's one of those things that if you're gonna do it, and but just know that it is what, that's the reality of it. It's not just like, the other thing that's hard too is when you're on tour, you're on like the strict schedule, like you were saying with Fifth Harmony, and then you go home and you're like, okay, what do I do with myself? Like, no one's telling me I have to be here, no one's telling me I have to go there, no one's telling me I have to talk to this person, no one's, So I think it's hard overall. It's not the way we're designed to function, I think. And I think that's why you see so much drug use and alcoholism and all sorts of messes in all of those industries, all the entertainment industries. So I think it is something we should talk about more and have some more compassion over, for sure. I mean, you saw like what happened with Frightened Rabbit, and so many it's so sad.
Em and I went for like a literal 2-hour drive that day, just blasting Frightened Rabbit.
And his Owl Johns, I mean, Frightened Rabbit's one of my favorite bands of all time, and it's so sad.
And like, that there were people around him that saw it, and someone should have said, hey man, like, you need a break, or we need to just go get you some help or whatever. And it's hard, it's hard to say that to a friend. It's hard to, especially when you're that close to it and your livelihood depends on it. You've got to keep touring to make more money, and it's just this like vicious cycle. And I hope that it just somehow gets worked out.
Yeah.
But it probably won't.
I know.
Which is really sad. It's just going to keep happening, and people talk about it, and then it's kind of like no one talks about it until the next time something happens.
Well, and you want to believe in kind of, I don't know, more of the folk industry that's a little less commercialized. I think you kind of hope it's better if it's indie music. It feels like it's more autonomous.
More control.
Yeah. So it's not like pumping out top 40 hits, but essentially it's iterative. It's all the same thing.
And like on fans' parts, it's kind of selfish for us because we want to see artists come and like see them live and stuff, but that takes a lot for the artist, So it's
totally.
Well,
on that note,
so the EP, New Fangs, Old Pangs.
Yes.
Amazing name.
Thank you.
So specifically the song I Want My Knife Back, which actually this kind of is piggybacking off what we were just talking about. The lyrics, I need a knife in my back just to help me relax and a thorn in my side so that I can abide, hit Julia and me with just such a wave of like, oh my god, that's everything I've ever felt and wanted to say. It is crazy. Like, I think there's this weird feeling that you have to feel like there's something wrong in order to feel like everything's okay. Is that kind of what you were feeling when you wrote that?
Yeah, I think it's like, it's like you get comfortable feeling a certain way. And, I've dealt with depression and anxiety as long as I can remember. I think it's something that most of my family's probably struggled with. And it's also what drives you to write. So it's like, you need it, but you hate it. You love it, but it's like, so, I think the balance is key. I think, but I also think the contrast is so important. Like, you can't really appreciate good things without experiencing bad things. Like the knife in the back, like, I always think that, people are people. They're going to let you down. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to stab you in the back. And I think being prepared for that is important. But also not getting so jaded where you think everyone's out to get you and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think just having that kind of discomfort that you actually become comfortable with, and then when you're happy, you're like, wait, something's off here. Why am I so happy? And just appreciating all those moments. I think I've learned to appreciate the times that I've had that were so difficult. But then you get through it, and you're like, you know what? Like, there's way worse things. There really are. Like, no matter what you go through, there's always something that's worse, and putting things into perspective is good. But yeah, that discomfort, like, I don't know what it would be like not having depression or not having anxiety or not having, like, it just being gone, that would be weird. Like, I would be like, what's going on?
Well, it becomes such an ingrained part of your day-to-day life that, like, you can't even
imagine
what
gone.
I feel like there's this awful tortured artist trope that exists probably because of a lot of the tensions that we just talked about within this that either induce or enhance a lot of those feelings of depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And I think it's hard to not become a cliche of that. So you don't want to write these like harrowing songs, but
Yeah.
you kind of have to stay honest. And songs like this, it's great because it kind of deals with that. You're like, something is wrong. I need something to kind of feel wrong to feel right. And I'm not saying that because I'm like this masochistic, needy attention person. It's how my brain functions.
Yeah, and you have no control over that. And it's like, and also maybe it is just that counterbalance. And, you know, you can't have, I mean, if you only live in depression and anxiety, it's going to kill you. So you have to balance it somehow, and you have to figure out what that is. And you also have to have an outlet. You know, music's an outlet for me. It's definitely been therapeutic for me. And you know, some people paint, some people, you know, I don't know, hammer things. I don't know, you know, but people do all sorts of things to get their stuff out, and that's so important, I think. But it's always there. You know, it's always there. It's like an old friend that won't go away.
Hello, old friend.
Yeah.
Hello, Clarice.
But I think that also goes to the point of why so many people struggle in the entertainment industry, because what is therapeutic for you eventually becomes a job for you. And so once you lose that, then it's kind of like, well, then what do I have to be mine, or like to be
you
therapeutic?
like dissociate from
Like Scott, he, you know, kind of was like over it. I think
Yeah.
that's what kind of made him lose that feeling of wanting to go on, you know.
Well, think of it this way too, because like you guys are into lyrics, but most people aren't. So if you're pouring your heart out through words, and people just want to bob their head to, you know, whatever song makes them bob their head, then it's really hard to accept that. And you also end up having some fans you're like, I would never hang out with this person. Like, I would never, like, this person just seems like an asshole, or this person seems like they don't actually get any of what I'm saying. So, you know, it's but you can't, you know, you just have to be grateful for anyone and everyone that enjoys your music, you know, and people get different things out of music. And I think, you know, the more we can understand that, the better, because otherwise, I mean, you know, I'll listen to that song, The Climb, you know, by Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana. Like, that song is so good for just, I don't know, there's something about that song, but it's also so stupid, you know? It's so stupid, because it's like, you feel silly, but you're like, I like this. So I try just not to judge people anymore. I feel like I did that a lot, and I'm over it.
Yeah, it is. It's like a weird phase you go through, and then you just phase out of it, because you're like, damn it, if people judge me the way I'm judging them,
totally,
I'm devastated.
I'm dead, I'm going to hell.
Yeah. So, on another note, we have to talk about your latest single, The Great Media Hoax, that you wrote for the Hoax documentary. Mm-hmm. How did you kind of get involved with that project?
Oh, man, I don't know if we want to open this can of worms. Well, I started getting interested the last couple years into kind of how our system works, and how media works, and how propaganda works, and how memes work. And I just started getting really interested in all of that. And I ended up meeting a few people that were way more into it than I was. And we just became friends. And then this guy was making a movie, this guy John Dutoit, with a couple other people. And he just said, hey man, would you want to do something with this? And I said, yeah, let me try. And I tried. And then, you know, when you like make something, you're like, they're gonna hate this, this is not, you know, but I sent it and they liked it. And then we tracked it, we made a video for it, and then I think the film's going to come out in a couple months. Hopefully they're going to do a theatrical release, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, just the media really sickens me, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely corrupt, and I think the song is really fantastic, because I think it reflects the climate right now, and I think people can connect to it regardless of their political affiliations, whatever it might be. It's interesting, because as musicians, we do play a role in the media in terms of, you know, we put stuff out there for mass consumption, and if we don't know what is true and what is not true, how do we know what to speak upon or what message to deliver? And should we do that if we don't know what is true?
Yeah, I mean, I've struggled with that a lot, like what's true, what's not true. I think truth is becoming a weird thing. I think that you kind of have to decide for yourself what you believe is true. And I think that a lot of the time, as a musician and an artist, like, I completely stayed out of politics. I hated politics. I still hate politics. And the true motive for that song, honestly, was to bring both sides together, the left and the right, and show them both that, both of you guys can be completely misled. And I think that, like you were talking about conspiracy theories, I've been down so many rabbit holes the last couple of years. I think that I've come to a place where I'm pretty comfortable with what I believe is true, and I think that the media causes mass hysteria, and I think that they know what they're doing. I think they profit off of blood. I think they profit off of people's fears, and that I know. I just know that that's happening. So for me, as far as like truth in politics, I don't know if there is any, but I think as far as truth in what you decide to take the time to learn about, that's more important to me and more interesting to me, because most people, including myself, I didn't want to know. I didn't want to like spend the time researching and trying to figure out who's telling this story, who's retracting this story, who's whatever, ruffling the feathers. And that's kind of saying a lot without saying anything, but that's kind of where I am with truth.
Totally.
Yeah.
Em and I were just talking about it a few weeks ago, how like it's hard to even like keep up with politics, because it's like what do you read, and like
it's impossible.
What do you believe,
Yeah.
and what source is actually true or whatnot.
Well, there's
So-
5 articles about the exact same event, and every single one is different, and you're like, I'm sorry, I just want to know what happened at a
just need the
baseline
facts.
level.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking to people like that are pretty deep into politics. Like, you guys would probably trip out if like I talked about names and stuff, but I really feel like we need journalistic standards where all I want is facts. Tell me, or just what happened. I don't need your spin. I don't need your little opinion about it. Like, let me decide for myself what I think about it after I read what happened. And I don't think that happens at all. I think it's everything's spun. I think there's bias on all sides, and I think that that's a shame, because most people just want to know what happened, and then you can figure out if you want to spend more time learning about it, or if you just want to, if you don't care. But yeah, it's just the facts. Just give me the facts, guys. Like, tell me what happened. I don't need a spin. I don't need you to like, pull my arm to hate this person that I've never met. And I just see so much of that. It sucks. And everyone's guilty of it. But I think trying to remove yourself from it as much as you can, and try to understand that people have different opinions, and that's totally fine. I have my own opinions too.
It's true. I don't think people really get that now. Like, it's like, if you don't believe what I believe, then I'm gonna like tear you apart. Social media,
well, it's so funny, because like I literally had to look up the word bigot, a couple years ago, because I'm like, bigot, because someone called me a bigot, and I was like, I'm not a bigot. Wait, am I a bigot? And then it's like, it's someone who's intolerant of someone else's views, and if you're going to be intolerant of someone's views, it doesn't matter what their views are. It doesn't matter if you agree with their views. It doesn't matter if you think their views are disgusting. You have to just understand that that's their view. And it's a slippery slope if we start telling people how to think and telling people what to believe, because they're just going, and also repressing things. Like, that's never good. Like, it's never good to teach people that they have to repress who they are. And, and I would just like to see more debate. I'd like to see one side say their thing and one side say the other thing, and both sides get heard, and no one's trying to shut down someone's speech, even if I disagree with it. It's like, the point is to understand that person more, why they came to those conclusions, why they came to those beliefs, what their personal experiences were. And we all have that, and we all have biases, and we all have prejudices, and we all have issues. So I think just more conversations are needed. I think there's just so much hatred. Like, people wake up hateful, like literally just full of hate, and that's going to have a really, really negative effect on everyone.
And that is a product of ingesting skewed media and perceptions of things that teaches you and conditions you that there are opposing forces that you should dislike. Deserving of hate because they're not exactly what you are.
We need to be more like Denmark or something. You know?
I'm down. Yeah, I'm down.
There.
So you have that single out, and then you have a relatively new single out, You Are My Home, from the new project, Man of Leisure. Do you want to tell us more about that and how that kind of started?
Yeah. There's a songwriter, his name is Barrett Johnson. He's a great songwriter and a good friend of mine. And it was actually my first kind of collaboration with another songwriter that I really respected and liked his work. And then that was the first song we wrote. And basically the idea of every song we wrote 10 songs, and we'll be releasing more like very soon, but the main idea was each song would have a theme. So like that one was about home, basically like, you know, wherever you go, the idea of home can stay with you. Another song was about, you know, not losing hope. Another song was about keeping your innocence, as far as, you know, not innocence as far as like sin or anything, just like innocence as being curious, being wide-eyed, being, you know, that kind of stuff. So it was interesting because I've never written that way. And it was really a challenge, but it was so much fun. And we just made a whole record, and we're going to just kind of trickle out each song. Yeah, we weren't even planning on releasing it, but it got picked up on a TV show thing. So we were like, well, we should put it out. So that's what we did.
I was going to say, it was on the Fosters, right?
Yeah.
I was looking it up on YouTube and stuff, and I saw from the Fosters, and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there new Yellow Red Spark stuff in the pipeline that we can count on?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's just it's still emotional vomit right now, and I need to really buckle down and go through it all. But there's tons, like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. We're so excited.
I can't wait.
It'll be more positive, I think.
Yeah. Well, that'll be, you know what? It's good though.
Yeah. Spread the positivity.
Yeah.
You know?
It'll be Dark-posi.
That's awesome.
That's like the only kind of positivity I think that we can really understand and like get behind.
It'll never be like bubblegum. Ever.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, I think
that about wraps it up in terms of our main questions.
Of our deep dive questions.
Awesome.
Is there anything else you wanted to add that we didn't really touch upon before we go into our rapid fire round?
Rapid fire round?
Yeah.
No, just be more loving. That's become my mantra. Even though I fail every day, be more loving. It's so weird, like, just saying that in my head all the time totally makes a difference. It's insane. Like, It surprised me so much. Just, and it's only been a couple weeks. That's been, like, my mantra. And it's just helped so much. It's weird. Like, it's so stupid, but it works. Just, I'm like, be more loving. I wake up, be more loving.
Yeah, affirmations, they work. They feel really weird, but they work.
Totally. I haven't gotten to, like, I'm pretty. I'm amazing.
In the mirror every day, you are perfect.
I think it works, but I think those work too, but I don't know. I mean, it's just, that's hard. But have you guys ever, like, thought about how you talk to yourself, like, self-talk? It's pretty, like, my self-talk was so negative. I'm like, wow, like, I would never treat someone like this, but I treat myself like this. It's horrible. Like, I need to stop this crap.
The amount of times Julia brings me out of the gutter and is like, you're fine. This song doesn't suck. You have a fine voice. I'm like, I'm terrible. It's awful.
No, you gotta get over it. You gotta.
But I think it's because I feel like as long as I have the most negative perception of myself, then nobody else can see me that way. I'm always going to be
like self-protection kind of?
Yeah.
Because no one else can call you on.
Right, it's like I already know the worst version of myself. You can't tell me anything I don't know.
Yeah, you're not going to tell me.
Right.
I hear you.
I already know.
I need a knife in my back just to help me relax, and a thorn in my side so that I can't abide. And I mean what I say when I say I don't mean it.
So, we're just gonna ask you 10 questions that we like to ask every artist. We say rapid fire, but
You can take your time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So what is your go-to song to listen to when you find yourself in either a state of internal or external chaos?
Internal, external. Okay. There's quite a few, but let me think here. Okay. Do Re Mi, the one on Sound of Music. I listen to it. I swear it will. It does wonders. Pink Rabbits, The National, Can't Help Falling in Love, the Elvis Presley one.
Yes.
Exit music for film, Radiohead. Very depressing, but I love it. Also, The Climb. I have to give Miley a shout out.
I love that. That's such an interesting.
It's a mixture there, huh?
Yeah, I love it. You've got like all your bases covered there.
Yeah.
What is one song that you wish that you wrote?
Oh man, there's so many. It Ain't Me, Babe, Bob Dylan. And then at the moment, I think the song Fireworks by First Aid Kit, I'm like, that song's so good. It's like perfectly written. I feel like even the bridge is amazing, which is hard to write. Like, it's hard to write a really good bridge. Yeah, but there's lots of songs.
What is your favorite thing to do when you are not playing music?
I guess writing's kind of playing music. I like being with my family. I like reading. I like going down rabbit holes. And I like watching PCP videos. People on PCP, it's crazy.
If you could score music for any book, what book would you choose?
That would be either Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk or however you say his name, or The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, I would say.
What musical decade would you have liked to live in?
50s, going into the 60s.
If you could describe yourself and your sound in one music festival, what music festival would you choose?
Oh man, I would do Outside Lands in San Francisco.
What is your dream venue to play at?
That I've been to, I'd say the Greek Theater in Los Angeles.
Which artist or band do you think is criminally underrated?
I think I would say my brother Walker Reinhardt, and also I would say, well, I don't know if they're underrated. Maybe Big Thief. I think Big Thief and maybe Angel Olsen. They get great ratings, but I don't think they're as popular as they should be.
What is your most favorite lyric that you've written?
Let's go with this life is a circle with 10,000 hurdles. Don't jump them all just yet.
And what advice would you give to someone who is just starting out in music and looking to make it a career?
I would say work every day on your craft, and also I would try to talk yourself out of doing it. And if you're still gonna do it, then do it and go for it. Go all in and just experience it, love it. Try and be a good example to other people and bring other people up with you.
Love that. And do you have any social medias that you want to plug?
I think everything's just at Yellow Red Sparks. So I'm not super into social media, but I'm on, I think, all of them. So.
Okay.
Well, I'm into Twitter a lot because of, the politics stuff. It's interesting to me.
You can't miss Twitter, you know?
It really was like therapy, guys. You should charge for this. Seriously.
Well, it's just so
You're like, that'll be $150, just PayPal us.
We would never.
That's
It's priceless for us.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's been therapeutic for us.
Also, I would really love if you guys share your music, send it to me.
Okay.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
All right, we will.
Well, thanks for talking, guys. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
And I just swear, baby, I just swear, because I can't dream, no, I can't dream. And in my last breath, yes, in my last breath, I want you next to me, right next to me, my love.
We hope you enjoyed our interview with Josh Hanson
Yes.
from Yellow Red Sparks. If you like the songs that you heard throughout the interview, we're going to post links for those for you guys. Be sure to follow
them on social media. They have new music coming out, so stay tuned for that.
And be sure to also follow us if you'd like to.
Please do.
Our Instagram is Therapy Sessions Podcast, and our Twitter and Facebook is TTSP Official. And you can find all of our episodes at therapysessionspodcast.com. And we're also on Spotify now.
Woohoo! Guys, we finally made it.
We made it, guys. Mom, I made it.
All right, so thank you so much, and stay tuned for episode number 4. I'm going to go take a nap now.